Hello everyone, this is Leena Khandekar, founder and director of Lee's International Beauty and Spa Institute. I'm working in beauty and wellness field past 20 years and working nationally and internationally. I have come up with a series called Expert Novel, as you all know. And in this series, I have been taking interviews with beauty and other industry experts to understand the latest trends, opportunities, futuristic possibilities in various fields to gain a holistic understanding and insights on the same to help one and all to grow and work towards personal and overall betterment. So today we have with us an inspirational and a brilliant personality, Mr. C.K. Kumarwell, who is the co-founder of Naturals, which is India's number one salon chain. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me for this interview today.
Absolute pleasure, Leena, and my hearty congratulations and best wishes for your Lias,
Yes.
which is your cosmetic, Nutra cosmetic brand, and also for the salon and spa and the academy business you are doing. Very happy to meet one more friend from the salon fraternity. I have a lot of opportunity to meet people from various fraternities. However, when I meet one more friend from salon fraternity, I feel even more gratified. So thank you very much for that opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for all your kind words. I would like to introduce Mr. Kumarwell with you all, as we all know him, but still, Mr. C.K. Kumarwell is a co-founder of Naturals India's number one salon chain. Together with his wife, Miss Veena, he has revolutionized the salon and franchising industry with over 600 plus salons spread across India. That's awesome. Naturals has created 400 women franchises, partners, and trained over 10,000 staff. They say thanks to the 30 lakh customers of Naturals, Mr. C.K. Kumarwell believes in the power of women and encourage them to be financially independent. That's really incredible, sir. He is a strong believer of the fact that every single Indian must look good. If they look good, they feel good. If they feel good, they perform good. And if they perform good, they look good again. Thus the cycle repeats. And Indians are no way inferior to the Westerners, with a little help on grooming tips and tactics. We can outshine the Westerners in terms of looks. He thinks women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. That's a very good thought, sir. Women are as capable as men, and more often than not, more capable. They require a little framework and a push in the beginning, after which there is no looking back. So people call him a creator of women entrepreneur, but he says he is really a beneficiary of women entrepreneurship. He has a dream, and dream is to erase the word housewife from the Indian dictionary. That's really good. And he has a goal. That goal is to have 1,000 women entrepreneurs and create 50,000 jobs across 3,000 salons. His long-term goal is to make Naturals the number one brand in the world by 2025. He expressed the glory of your life is not in the number of days you have lived so far, but it is in the number of days your age going to live from now on. And the glory of Natural is not in the 450, but we have opened, Naturals has opened so far, it is in the 2550 salons we are going to open. That is what Naturals is saying. And together, let us build a beautiful India. Be rich, be happy. That is said by Mr. Kumarwell and Naturals. Thank you so much, sir. This has been really, really incredible, and this is really an inspirational journey, Mr. Kumarwell. Indeed, your belief in power of women and efforts in encouraging them to be independent, it is really motivational. I must say that.
Thank you so much. But you have covered everything in the introduction only. What am I going to speak?
No, sir. There is a lot more to speak because I have n number of questions for you. Thank you.
Good.
Sir, I would like to begin with my first question that we really would like to know about your inspirational journey.
Inspirational journey, I should say that it started off when I was a child. I'm from a small town called Kadalur near Pondicherry, a large middle class family. I had 3 brothers, 2 sisters, total 6 of us. And my father's primary business is to put buy pharma products in bulk and put it in small packets and distribute to medical shops. He was a very innovative entrepreneur. He always looked for new ideas and he's very curious mind. He always looked for new ideas and new inspirations. And one day he was traveling to Singapore to attend an exhibition. Fortunately for us and unfortunately for him, he was carrying a Tata bottle shampoo in his suitcase. Oh. And that bottle broke and the entire dress was soiled. Instead of blaming the Tata bottle maker or the airline and 4 siblings in between, and my father died. And next day morning, my mother called all 6 of us and told that I'm going to be your father and mother from now on. And for the next 35 years, he did exactly that. She did exactly that. That is when I saw the power of women in front of my eyes. Here is a woman who lost her husband, who came from Andhra Pradesh to Tamil Nadu, not knowing, 9th standard woman, 2.5 lakhs debt at that point of time, way back in 1979. It is like 25 crores. Not that we did not have assets, but having an asset is different. Having a liability, liquidity is different. So this is the stage at which 6 children, she ran a tailoring unit. She sang, she danced, ensured all 6 of us are not only safe, also successful. And that is the first hand I saw the power of the women decides to take life in their hands. And then rest will be called history. And that's exactly what has happened in front of our eyes. That's why I have huge respect for women and also huge anger against women. Because on one side, I see extremely talented women not channelizing their talent and potential and dreams. On another side, when life puts them in trouble, when they take control of the life, and life is completely good for everyone around them. And that's what is my experience in the early stage of life.
Wow. That's amazing, sir. That's really amazing. And this is truly an inspiration because when you have someone like your father who is inspiring you, and you have inspired by your father and mother, and that is what generally the upbringing generally our mom and dad gives us. And I am feeling so nice that I have got this opportunity, that I got a chance to talk to you. And I can relate that thing when our father and mother says something to us, and this is really incredible. Thank you once again.
Yeah, our parents live through us.
Yes.
And we will live through our children.
That's true. That's really true. And you really have mounted a road of your own, and definitely hasn't been an easy one. I'm going to ask you the challenges and all the questions next. But in spite of all the hurdles, you came out stronger and worked endlessly with your focus towards your end vision. Thank you so much, sir. So what is that one thing, means you just have mentioned about your father and mother, but what is that one thing which has really inspired you to create so many franchises of naturals?
That happened when I was on the way, the journey. We listened to a role model is Anita Roddick. Anita Roddick is the owner of the Body Shop International. Okay. We listened to her story in an audio cassette. Me and Veena, we went to London to meet her and to bring Body Shop to India. This happened in late 90s. Okay. And she showed around the place. She had a discussion with us. A whole day she spent with us. And end of the day, she told, India is not ready. And she also told, you are not ready. Okay, but listening to her story, and she has been a great inspiration. She says something very nicely. She and her husband, Gordon Roddick, will run a restaurant business, and that business will fail. And once it failed, the husband will want to go to pursue his childhood ambition, which is to going from London to New York in a horseback. She will leave the wife, 2 daughters, 6-year-old and 4-year-old, and continue with his childhood ambition. And Anita Radhik says so beautifully, till such time I used to think there are some work what men can do, and there are some work what women can do. When my husband was not there, I started doing all the work. There is no big deal. So whatever I am doing now in terms of the salon business and franchising model, I have almost taken from her model and adapted to Indian conditions run to salon business. And that is why natural franchise model is very different and it is working very well, because I have not only taken from the best, I have adapted to Indian conditions and I also adapted to salon business. So a lot of what I do is what Anita Roddick has done in body shop franchising business, and that's what I have taken from her, and that's why we consider her as a role model. And we all need role models.
Yes.
Okay, that will give us the confidence. If she can do it, why can't I? If he can do it, why can't I? So otherwise, that's very important. One of my favorite stories about Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister is a guy who is a runner. Go back to history to 1950s, and by the time there is a belief that nobody can run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Okay, that was the thing, and everybody believed that it is not possible. The best record was by another guy which is 4 minutes and 1.5 seconds, something like that, was the record which is there for a long time. And this guy comes, and Roger Bannister, and he is also a runner, and his mind is not able to accept. If somebody can run in 4.1, why not below 4? The sports authorities and the trainers and coaches told, no, you cannot do that. If you do that, it will hurt your body very much. It is not possible. And then this possibility, this thing, and on May 6th of 1954, and Roger Bannister in a windy track in London, he will run the mile, and he will do it in 3 minutes 59 seconds and 59.55 seconds, and that's how he will break the world record. He will build that. And his competition, Gunder Haig of Sweden, he used to clock, and he used to try 3 times. He was not able to do that. Within 60 days of Roger Bannister crossing, he will better his record, and he will say that till such time Roger Bannister broke that record, it is more of psychological belief. It was like a wall in front of us. We believed it is not possible. And once in the next 2 years, more than 60 people crossed that. It is not that athlete has got some new training, new equipments and new gadgets to cross that, but it was a mental barrier. Lot of times it is the mental barrier which is far more difficult than physical barrier. So we all put our own invincible fences within our head, and we think it is not possible. When we say that it is not possible, then the world will work like that. So when Roger Bannister broke that record, he broke not only that 4-minute mile, he not only won that, he told the world that it is a mental barrier which we need to win first, then only the physical barrier. And that's what is our learning at that point of time.
Wow, this is amazing, and it's not saying it's a live experience. And as you said, sir, we should not have we should have a constructive mindset and a wider goals and wider thoughts to achieve our vision, and we should have that mission to achieve that vision. And this is what the inspirational story what you have shared, sir. That is amazing, and we really have to have a role model, because to look up to someone and then grow further in our life, it really gives you better results and successful life. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to know that, sir. You always believe in women empowerment, and you inspire them to grow. So we really would like to know more about this thought process, because generally there is always a consequence, or there is always again, this is kind of, a narrow mindset. Sometimes people think that there is a difference between men and women. If yes, but you feel that the women are more stronger than men. So what is that thought process, sir?
No, as I told that in the beginning, first seeing my mother and overcoming so much challenges.
Mm.
And that's my first inspiration. And second inspiration, as I told you, Anita Roddick. And third one came when Veena, my wife, decided to start the. Both my kids have started going to school. There was some time available with her.
Mm.
I always used to say that Veena's refusal to continue as a housewife was the beginning of the brand Naturals. Veena could have easily stayed home and glorified herself as a homemaker, or she could have sought a job. She was very persistent. She said, I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to do some business. So one of the biggest challenge every entrepreneur faces in the beginning is identify what to do. Irritation is the biggest source of energy. If you are irritated about something, look them over very carefully. There lies an opportunity. We were irritated about lack of a good quality, affordable salon at that point of time. At that point of time, way back in 2000, good quality salon was available only in 5-star hotels, which were intimidating and unaffordable. On the other end, we had the local beauty parlors and barber shops, whose hygiene standards, quality standards, and quality of the people were very poor, to say the least. We as a customer could not fit into that. So we thought there is a need for a good quality, affordable salon. That is the idea we got. So with that idea, we started working on the business. We are not from this business. The second challenge every entrepreneur.
So your video was off. Yes.
Yeah, the second challenge every entrepreneur faces is, where do you find the skill? Veena is not a beautician. She is not a makeup artist. She is not a hairdresser. And my knowledge of beauty is even poor. I thought pedicure is for hand and manicure is for feet. So with such poor knowledge of beauty, that's why the people who have redefined need not be from the industry. For example, today the mobile phone industry is not redefined by Nokia. It is redefined by Steve Jobs. The cricket, the Mahendra Singh Dhoni was originally a football player. Okay, he came into cricket and he redefined that cricket, how it is played. So a lot of people need not be from the industry. If you are from the industry, you can only look for incremental increase. If you are not from the industry, you look at through a new lens. I looked at this industry from a new lens. I thought this business is a franchising business. For me, this is not salon business. Very favorite, one of my favorite thought process. Every entrepreneur should see one movie called Founder. Founder by Ray Kroc. It is a McDonald's story. The story goes on like that. After Ray Kroc used to give a lecture in one of the prestigious institutions in America, and after that the students will call, hey Ray, can you come and have a beer with us? We want to have a talk with you. And yes, he said, okay, let's have a beer and have a chat. And they all went to a canteen. They picked up a beer. And one guy, Ray asked these people, do you know what business I am? And these friends, everybody and the students told, yeah, everybody knows you are in food business. And he said, no. And somebody said, you are in fast food business. He said, no. And somebody said, you are in hamburger business. No. And then he said, I am in real estate business. My business is real estate. My job is to make burgers. Okay. My job is to build salons. My business is franchising.
Yes.
And that is why I have differentiated my business. Job is different. Business is different.
Yes.
Job is what you do to survive. Business is what you do to be successful. If entrepreneurs get that clarity, I think that is when they will start looking at through a new lens. So I have looked at the business not as a business. I have looked at it as my job. My job is to do salon. My business is franchising. So when I got that kind of clarity, I looked at through a completely different lens. Everybody were building salons. I was building network. Okay, so that is the crucial difference I have brought in. Third and the most important challenge every first generation entrepreneur faces is, where do we find the money? I favorably call the 3Fs, which is the friends, family, and fools. I collected the money from the 3Fs and put them together and started the salon in Kadar Nawaz Khan Road in Chennai, with the hope that Veena is going to become self-employed. and we are going to make 60,000 rupees a month. I was half right. Veena became self-employed. And that was the beginning of the brand Naturals.
Wow. That's truly inspirational and incredible, sir. And as you have rightly mentioned, if we have a clear thought process and if we have a clear goal to achieve I think success is always there. Thank you once again for having this insight, and this is really, really incredible, sir. It's truly awesome.
Thank you.
Sir, when we say franchisee, then what all important aspect we really have to consider in the beginning and later once we start operating it? Because mainly people have some kind of, that particular mindset what really requires to deliver or to delegate rather, to delegate and put our business on a autopilot mode. So what was that, sir? Generally, what all points we must consider?
No, if a small business has to become a big business, if a small business means they will be involved in the first D, which I call doing. They will be doing a lot of doing work. They will be doing all the work. Okay, that is the small business. The limitation is it cannot grow because there is only that much you can do. That is why architects, lawyers, doctors are all the professionals, are all small businesses. They cannot outgrow themselves because they are the business. Okay, so they are always involved in doing. If they are suddenly some health problem or some family emergency or something, they go, there won't be any income because they are the business.
Yes.
Okay, that is where all the small businesses are involved mostly in doing. The next one, when you start going to the next step, it is called deciding. That is the second D. Lot of people should, when they want to make the small business to big business, they should move away from D to deciding. That means they make decisions and they allow other people to execute the decision. That is the second D. Third one is called delegating. There are some work which you will do. There are a lot of work which you will not do. Okay, that is the third D. The fourth D is dropping. There are some work which you don't want to do. A Mahendra Singh Dhoni at this point of time will not be doing so many things. I met somebody who is very interesting. His name is John DeMartini. John DeMartini is a featured author in that Secret movie, Secret book, Rhonda Byrne's. Okay, one day I was a speaker back to back, and I had opportunity to meet him. And he said, when he was a young boy, he was an orphan in Miami, Florida. Okay, and his morning, he was a 16-year-old boy. He will live in the jungle, play in the surf, play in the water, play in that thing, help to few tourists, make some money, and he will live like that. Okay, there is no ambition. And one day he ate something, and it food poisoned. And in his tent, half body was inside, half was outside. And one lady saw him one day 2, and day 3 was also like that. Then she took him and admitted him in the hospital. 10 days later, he was released. He said, first time in my life, I was thinking, what am I doing? What is my life? What is my future? Why am I like this? He said, never I used to think like that. First time I thought like that. And then somebody tapped me and told, hey boy, you are going to make it big in life. And here is this thing. And he gave a book. And that book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he said he opened that book and he read that book 3 times in the next 30 days. And he said, when I have met him, so far he has read 30,000 books. Okay. He has read Bhagavad Gita, 8 different versions. Okay. He has come to India to research about India's contribution to modern mathematics and present a paper in Princeton University. Aryabhatta, Ramanujan, all these people he is wanting to study. He said, I am doing in life, I do only 4 things. I do researching. He doesn't read. Researching means he will identify what to read and then reading. No casual reading. Okay, I research I write, I speak, and I travel.
Mm.
No other work. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to drive. I don't know. If you ask me, there are 1,000 things I don't know. But these 4 things, I know it very well.
Mm.
So that is called dropping. He has dropped everything. Okay, and focused only on 4 things in life. That is why he has become John DeMartini. People who have achieved great things in life have dropped. Lot of things they will not know.
Mm.
Okay, and the last one is called designing. Last D is called designing. People who are in very high level of business and highest level will be involved in designing life, designing business, designing future. And that is what is the most important D. So these 5 Ds are what will govern people's life. And the ability to use these 5 Ds will make the small businesses into big businesses.
Wow.
Small business will be involved in doing, and the big businesses will be involved in designing.
That's really wonderful, sir, and it's a very good learning, and it's in such a simple what language you really have explained it us to well, and how everyone whoever is watching this video, definitely they will going to get a good insights and good they will have a good roadmap to follow. Thank you so much. With so many examples, you really have explained it, sir. Thank you, thank you. And sir,
So
how
you
to
asked, the question is franchising.
yeah,
Franchising is, simply put, franchising is using other people's time and money.
yes,
But the real equation is franchising is using other people's time and money responsibly. When you add the word responsibility to the equation gains power. Otherwise, franchising is looked at as if it is a con business. Somebody comes and gives business, takes some startup fee and takes some royalty, and they put you in problem. No. If you put in that problem, it is like that a golden goose. Franchise business is like golden goose.
yeah,
Okay. You have that favorite story that is one day that he went to his this thing that Aesop is having this thing. He went to his chicken farm and he saw one his favorite hen putting one golden egg, big egg, and he took that egg. It is gold color, and he opened it. It is real gold. He was very happy. He went and sold that egg. Next day he also went another egg, again gold. Next day again one more egg. He got now super rich, and he also got greedy. He doesn't want to wait. He cut the egg, hen went inside. There is only one egg. After that, no egg. Franchising business is to ensure that you have to take care of the health of the goose. Then it will keep on giving golden egg every day. If you want to cut it, then the end of business. Okay, it is so important that it's that is why I always used to say you should take a parental approach towards franchising. Parental approach means you will not allow your daughter or your son to fail in life. So in a way, you should take a parental approach towards your franchising. It is your children. If you take care of them like that, they will keep on giving you golden egg. Every day you can take one egg. But it is your responsibility to take care of that. The franchisor comes with the brand name and the business knowledge.
yes,
The franchisee comes with the local knowledge and day-to-day operations. And there has to be enough margin to share between both the players.
yes,
If these 3 parameters are met, then the business is intrinsically franchisable. World over, beauty salon business is a highly franchised business.
yes,
In India, you need to adapt to the Indian condition and do some Indianness to the franchising and take a parental approach towards franchising. And that is where you can really do miracles. People call me, as I told, that exponent of women entrepreneurship. I am not. I am a beneficiary of women entrepreneurship. Because of so many people, I have now today, everybody is giving one egg.
yes,
See the number of eggs. They are also happy. I am also happy. When they first came, when women they used to come, see, I am only a college student. I am after all only a housewife. I am only what they call IT company. I don't have any experience. I told them, don't worry, that is my job.
yeah,
I will give you the framework. I will tell you what to do. You only do how to do. And after some time, they do the work. They gain confidence and they put in so much their heart out. Today, I have created house husbands. The women have started making more money than the men. And the men suddenly will become very jittery. And women start outshining them. Indian men are not ready. Okay? When they start outshining them, they become more popular. They make more money. And suddenly men is not ready for that.
Yes.
I think that is one of the societies in transition. Let's not wait for them. I think because of that, we cannot wait. Women cannot wait. Women need to become more ambitious and have to dream a bigger dream.
Yeah.
We are conditioned to believe in the Indian society that women have to play secondary role to men. I think time it is for your own sake and for the sake of the larger women population. Women need to be more ambitious and they need to dream bigger dream. It is only when men folks see women folks as financially successful, they will start respecting you.
Yes.
There are enough role models of women being successful, but there are far and few. When you see more and more women folks financially successful, men will start respecting women. Otherwise, they will say, you be in kitchen, you do this work. One of my my mother selecting 4 daughter-in-laws, she only had one condition. She told they should not know how to cook. It is not that my mother against to cooking. She said that yes, my mother did not know cooking. She did not want to have a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law problem on a lighter vein. But more seriously, she did not want the talent of women to be restricted to the kitchen.
Yes.
She said only when you come out of the kitchen and start seeing the world, you will really see the world around you. You will put your passion, your dream and talents to use. Otherwise, lot of talent, lot of potential, lot of dreams are restricted to the kitchen and to the homes. And the men keep on giving them put the bird in a golden cage, and you give the bird fruits. You give the bird badam. You give the bird akrot. Actually, the bird requires freedom to fly. Bird does not require your BMWs. It doesn't require your jewelries. It doesn't require your big house. It doesn't require your credit cards. It requires your freedom. That freedom, India may have got freedom in 1947. Indian women have not got freedom, especially in our own house. And that gives me to a very interesting story. It happened when I was opening my 8th salon in Coimbatore. And I partnered with my cousin and I used to go there every month. One day my cousin introduced to a woman who is family rather, and they used to come and spend 5,000 rupees every month way back in 2008. That's a big money. I said, thank you very much for your patronage. She said, good, and I like your service. I am from Karur. Every month, me and my family come to Coimbatore only because of Naturals. And she said, thank you very much, madam. I said, and she said, I want to open a salon in Karur. And Anita Roddick told me and Veena that India is not ready and you are not ready. No. And I have to give it back to somebody. So I told this woman, ma'am, Karur is not ready. I can't tell you are not ready. Okay. And she said, do a market survey. But before I could do a market survey, she has identified a place and called me over and asked me to see the place. I went to Karur and saw the place. I liked the place. Then she invited me to her house. I walked into her house. There was a BMW on the left-hand side and a Mercedes-Benz on the right-hand side and few more small cars. I told myself, why is this lady wanting to open a natural salon? Anyway, I went inside, met her husband, 2 sons, 2 daughter-in-laws. And I told myself 30 lakh loss also will not affect this family. Chalo, let us open. I opened this salon. 1 year later, she called me and she said, thank you. I said, for what? And she said, I have made 50,000 rupees profit this month. I said, okay, ma'am, good. It will be very useful for you. No, no, sir, that's not the problem. My house at any point of time will have 10 lakhs in cash, jewelry and document extra. But for any money I spend, I need to give accounts to my husband and to my 2 sons. This is my money. I can spend the way in which I want. I said, you have made my day. The best fashion statement you can make is standing on your own legs. If there is a woman in your house in the name of mother, in the name of sister, in the name of wife, in the name of daughter, who is not contributing to the financial kitty of the family, it's a gross underutilization of human potential. And that is when I said, I want a housewife-free India. It is not that I don't want women to make household chores, but I want women to be financially independent. India may have got independence in 1947. Indian women have not, especially finance. Money in the hands of women will build the home and although this also the society. Money in the hands of men will only build liquor shops, will only be involved in more of unnecessary things. So money in the hands, I'm not against men. Let men earn and spend, no problem. But let women also earn. And that's what is my this thing. And that's when I see a lot of women entrepreneurs, my own franchise partners, come and say that with pride, now I am successful. Now I can, the family is looking at me very positively. My children are looking at me with a high esteem. And the society is looking at me with high esteem. I feel myself good about me. When they say like that, I think that's the best thing which can happen to me.
Yes. Yes, that's really a winning situation, sir. And as you said, and if we empower women and that work which you are doing since many years, I'm sure that lot of blessings you must have got. And I'm very fortunate. Again, I would rather say that I'm getting to learn so many things. And while listening to you, I can relate. I can actually relate what is that conservative mindset is, because we are in connection with many women and students, and they keep telling us all these things. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience, sir. This was really amazing.
In fact, my wife is called K. Veena. She is not called Veena Kumaravel.
Yes.
Because that is an indirect way the society is conditioning you to add either your father's name or a husband's name. My question is, why not husbands also add a wife's name?
Absolutely.
Okay. That is where the society is conditioning you and telling you are inferior, you are inferior, you are inferior. Don't believe them. Today we are fighting 33%. Today only out of the 17 presidents, only one was a woman. Out of 16 prime minister, only one was a woman. We are fighting for 33% of reservation and still nobody is pushing that, including women. Most of the women problem are starting from women only.
Yeah, true.
Because authorities and responsibilities are never given. It is always taken.
Yes.
Women are powerful in the chessboard. Women are powerful on the school board. Women are powerful on the home board. But they are not powerful in the corporate board. They are not powerful in the political board. Unless we can only take the horse to the water. Finally, the horse has to drink. Women are not ready. The country with so much power, we say women is God, women is Shakti, women is Ma, all those things we are saying. But in reality, 33% is not happening. And nobody is fighting. We are putting so many hashtags for so many things. I am not against the Me Too movement. I am in favor of that. But I am saying that is what is addressing a problem. Why not you address this problem also?
Yes.
That is addressing men word problem. This is addressing women problem. When will you get powerful? Because when women become powerful, the country will be taken care by itself. We don't require a foreign direct investment. We don't require international money flowing in. All the tamasha is not required. Each and every Indian woman, when they start showcasing their talent and putting their potential, I think India will shine. I met one very interesting lady. This lady's name is YG Parsarathi. This was a 91-year-old woman. She's died last year or something like that. And I met her 2-3 years before. And it was an award function. She's running Chennai's best schools. Okay. And she got an award. And I always used to take a picture with people. And I took a picture and said, wow, ma'am, wonderful. And what is your inspiration? What is your life defining moment? And she said, when I got married, my husband told, I am not marrying you to get a cook or to get a who will make a couple of babies and do some domestic chores. Whatever is your dream, you tell me, I will support you and make your dream come true. And she said, I want to build a school. And that's the rest is called history. Okay, so many talents and so many potentials. Every woman is talented. Today I will very boldly say, if my network is a men network, it would have got collapsed by now. It is because it is a women network. My network is successful because women are ready to work in a framework. they are very disciplined. They are very detail oriented. They are very friendly. They are very warm, and they are very hospitality oriented, and they are very beauty sense is very high.
Mm.
Men are greedy. Men are aggressive. Once they start seeing money, they said, "Hey, why should I give royalty to him? Why not I do my own business? Why should I will take business from here, they do from this, cut the tax." All these things they will do.
Yeah.
That is when even when a bank manager and I went and speak to them, they said, when I went to for the bank manager, only when me and Veena went together, he is ready to give them loan. And the bank says women are a much better borrower. They will return it for sure. Men are not good borrowers.
That's amazing. And it is super excited to know so many things, sir. And the experiences what you are sharing with us, I think those are going to help us a lot. Sir, when we build a team, how do you get that trust factor when you actually want to expand? Because, giving franchisee, you already have mentioned that you have some framework which you want to replicate in each and every franchisee of yours. So when we want to have that trust, how do you do so? And what are the key factors? Yeah, sorry.
Trust but verify. We are Indians, we are only constable conscious. We are not signal conscious. It's an Indian DNA problem. Okay, trust people but verify. Put checks and balance at every point of time. In the beginning, over supervise. That is when you are building a franchisee. In the beginning, go often and put everything in order and hold them. But once the baby knows how to walk, leave them but verify. So trust but verify is very important. Okay, we should trust the people so that they gain confidence, but you should also verify so that they know that they are under checks and balance. Once you are able to put these together, I think you have got a framework with which you can design your life.
That's true. And why I asked you this question, because mainly the mentality is like, whatever I have done, people limit to themselves. And when you want to expand, you really have to delegate. And when we want to delegate,
that is the third D I was talking about.
Yes, that was right. So, how did you use or manage your time in initial days and now, sir? Because the time management for any successful business person, time management is really important. So how do you do so? What is that secret of yours?
No, in the beginning, when we had 6 salons, I used to manage 3 salons and Veena used to manage 3 salons. And we used to be very hands-on. And we used to really work on the business, in the business. Okay, we really used to work in the business. That means we will open the shutter, we will close the shutter, do the bill, pay the salary, ensure everything is clean. That is called in the business activity. Once the business becomes bigger, you work on the business. That means this work your team member will do, and you work on growing the business, opening new stores, introducing new products, making a new campaign, how to make customer walk in, digital marketing. All this is called on the business. In the beginning, you are in the business, and as the business grows, you have to grow from that, outgrow that. And then you have to work on the business. So you should know what are the in the business and what are the on the business. So if you understand the differentiation between in the business and all the day-to-day work is called in the business. Okay, all the business which is of future oriented, which is of growth, is called on the business. An entrepreneur have to move from in the business to on the business. I have a very favorite story. The story goes on like that. It is happened in America, where one guy used to have two dogs, and he used to take them for a dog fight every week. And 1 week he will bet on a black dog, another week he will bet on a white dog, and he will keep on doing that. And one fellow will be watching that, and he will come to the owner. Hey owner, however, I'm watching you for quite a few weeks, number of weeks, and I whichever dog you bet more, that dog is winning. How is that correctly you are able to identify this week black dog will win, that week white dog will win, and like that. Then the owner said, whichever dog I feed more that week, that dog will win. Within each one of us, there is a rich dog and a poor dog. There is an entrepreneur dog, there is an employee dog. There is an ambitious dog, there is a fearful dog. There is a lazy dog, there is an active dog. Whichever dog we are feeding more, that dog will win. So when we start feeding the entrepreneur dog, then the employee dog will die. The entrepreneur in you should emerge. The employee in you should die, so that the entrepreneur in you will emerge. The poor person inside you should die, so that the rich person will live and emerge. The ambitious person, the fearful person in you should die, so that the ambitious person in you will emerge. The lazy person inside you should die, so that the active person inside you will emerge.
That is really, really commanding, sir. And if we have all these qualities, I think definitely every person who dreams, who wants to become, who wants to grow their business, who want to become rich, they will surely become rich. And behind every successful person, days and night hard work and sweat, which is really required. And the world doesn't know about it generally, but we will always remember yours when we need a ray of shine and hope, sir. Thank you for
Success requires sacrifice. Let's understand that.
Yeah.
There is no success without sacrifice. A medical doctor has put in 10 years so that he is called a medical doctor.
Yeah.
An Olympic athlete have put 10,000 hours. A musician has really put 10 years of hard work. An actor par excellence has put so much of work. Anything success requires sacrifice. If anyone says you will get success without doing sacrifice, it is possible to live an average life. I am not saying no to that. Okay, it is possible. But average life and success life are two different things. If you want to say that work-life balance, happy, 40-hour work week, weekend, no. That and all you can do that for survival. If you want to be successful, you should minimum work 60 hours. If you want to be super successful, you should work 84 hours. If you want to be a legend, you should work 96 hours. Legends are created only like that.
Yes.
Okay, it is the focus plus daily improvement plus time equal to genius.
Yes.
Focus is your ability to say yes to the one thing and the discipline to say no to the 99 distractions.
Yes.
If you chase 2 rabbits, you will catch neither. Identify the rabbit you want to chase. You can change the method of catching the rabbit, but you should not change the rabbit. That kind of focus. One business, 20 years, salon business. That is why 689 salons. If morning I am doing salon business, evening I am doing real estate business, night I am doing restaurant business, I would not have reached it. It is that focus which is very important. Then lot of people focus, but they daily improvement. That is very important. Sachin Tendulkar is today called a legendary cricket player because every day morning he will go and play 300 balls. His objective is to improve 1 stroke every day. If he is not improving that 1 stroke in the morning, he will again come back in the evening and play another 300 balls. End of the day, he should improve his cricket stroke by 1 stroke every day. It is not important to be busy. So are the ants. The question is, what are we busy about? Lot of people keep on doing the same work again and again. You go to the kitchen, make one recipe, keep on doing that every day, make coffee, make dal, chawal, curry, and keep on doing that, and you keep yourself busy, clean the kitchen, do a bus. It's of no use.
Yeah.
Daily improvement. What are you improving? And that's the question in front of you. Focus plus daily improvement plus time. You should give the time.
Yes.
Lot of people, entrepreneurs, are in a hurry. They don't give time. 2 years they work on one business. They say, no, it is not working. First 3 years, my business is failure only. If I did not give in the 4th year, I would not be sitting here.
Absolutely.
Okay. baby requires 9 months and 1 week. Even if you marry 9 women, you can't make baby in 1 week.
Yes.
Okay. Law of
Yes.
the farm governs. You put the seed, then it will become a plant, then it become the tree, then flower will come, then only fruit will come.
Yes.
Lot of people are in hurry. People who have achieved great things in life have knowingly or unknowingly followed this formula. Formula is focus plus daily improvement plus time equal to genius.
That's amazing. And if you want to become genius, then please focus, have daily improvement, and have good time management. And this is a quality of leadership. And sir, you are one of them. And really hats off to you for this.
Thank you.
Sir, how important is to do proper marketing and branding of your business? This question I am asking because you already have mentioned that there are two categories. One, which is a small salon, everything they will do by themselves, and one who really wants to grow, they will have a wider vision. But even for the small salons, what is that one guideline which you would like to give? And even the big salon owners or big people who wants to grow their salons, not chain of salons, but who wants to grow, maybe have 2 or 3 branches. So, what is that marketing or branding purpose, and how it is important for our business?
The purpose of the business is to create profitable customers. That is the purpose of the business, is to create profitable customers. Okay, there is 2 ways. One, you get one set of customers, and then you should get referral, and through them you should get referral customers. In the beginning, when I launched the salon, we are now living in a trial marketing world. Everybody knows trial marketing now. Earlier in the 2005 and 6, when I launched the salon, I used to give gift vouchers, 200 rupees, free. Come and take service, up to 200. Anything more you pay. Some people used to come and pay 10 rupees every day. They will take one service for 210 rupees and pay 10 rupees and go. And my staff used to be very angry, and my competition used to tell naturals will become bankrupt. What is this model? One person is having brand, another person is investing and managing. One person give gift voucher, lot of customer is coming. How will it be successful? But in fact, I can tell you today, the best thing what has happened to naturals is giving that gift voucher and making people to come and try the services. Before that, when the big board is there, naturals is there, Unisix is there, no, they will think it is not for me. Okay, I have all the infrastructure, I have got people, I have got electricity, I have got rent, all fixed cost. If nobody is coming in, it is of no use. I want people to come and see the services, look at the place, make themselves comfortable, price is not too much. All these things, they should become comfortable, only then they will become the regular customer. So that is the trial marketing what I have done in the beginning stage. And today the trial marketing, everybody are doing that. I think it is very important. The second one, which is very important, is happening in this present world, is marketing is no longer about the product you make or about the services you give. It is about the stories you tell. What story are you telling? How is Lina very different from naturals? Okay, what is new of your salon in Pune? What story are you telling? Sidasco, when you tell Sidasco certified, it's a story. Oh, that means quality will be good. Okay, so I think what stories are you telling? Where there is a will, there is a way. Is a old way. New way is where there is a will, there is a video. Okay, that is exactly what you are creating. Today you are creating not only the salon business to your customer, you are also educating your customer to become successful in whatever field they will be. I think that is what the customer will value a lot more than the service what you are giving. We are in a 1990 world. 1% posts, 9% shares, and 90% likes. If we understand that digital world very well, I think that is the digital marketing we should go. People, today I have come 5 years before I signed Kareena Kapoor. Today I will not sign Kareena Kapoor because people don't want to see Kareena Kapoor. They want to see credible neighborhood, your friend, your relation, your next person saying, hey, this salon is good, this service is good, this product is good. You don't want a Shah Rukh Khan to come and say, no, I know what this fellow will be paid money, he will say anything. That and all today people are able to see through in this digital world. So what is important is credible customer feedback. And that is worth millions. So how are you able to creating? How are you able to create raving fans? This customer who is coming in to taking one service, how are you going to make them take the second service and third service? Customer who is coming in, and especially the customer who is complaining. Customers are very, very good. You should say thank you very much. Usually when you go to a restaurant, if the food is not good, what will you do? You will go and complain to the restaurant manager. Okay? No. 95% of the people do not complain to the restaurant manager. They go outside to their home and they tell the product is not good. They put it in Facebook and they say the service stinks. Okay, they tell their friends, they tell their kitty party, all those things. The social media they tell. They don't tell the people. Especially whenever a customer comes and complains, say thank you very much. It is an opportunity for you to fix the problem. Don't fix the person. Fix the problem. If you are able to do that, I think you are creating raving fans. The job, that's what I said, that my staff are called smile providers. Their job is to put smile in the customer's face. And when a customer comes back again, that means they have put smile in their face. When they become a repeat customer. When the customer refers to them to another customer, I think that is the best, what they call this thing you will get, the stamp you will get of appreciation. So they are the brand ambassadors. So our job is to make every customer our brand ambassador. Kareena Kapoor is not the brand ambassador. Veena is not the brand ambassador. I am not the brand ambassador. Each and every customer who walks into Natural Salon should become the brand ambassador. And that's what is the entire direction. And use the social media to amplify that. Because now we are living in a 1990 world.
Yes. That's amazing. And that's really, really very important aspect, how we really have to look towards when we are actually doing marketing activities. And this is, I think, very important for us to expand. This is very important for us to grow our business. We really have to see the marketing aspect. Thank you, sir. So what all specific hurdles and challenges one can face while franchising, or while face in the franchisee process rather, and how to overcome these challenges, sir?
That's what, identify the franchisee carefully. I think that is the business is about getting the relationship right. If you get the relationship right, your business will be right. You can't do a good deal with a bad partner. And you can't do a bad deal with a good partner. First, identify a good partner. Then the deal is details. Say, suppose you are identifying a bad partner, and the business plan, everything is very good. It will not work. Okay?
Yes.
And if you identify a good partner, imagine the business is bad, plan is bad, but that person will not allow you to fail. Because he is a good person. So the first thing I tell this thing is identify the right franchise partner. And I used to have a framework for that. I used to tell whoever you will call home for dinner or go to their home for dinner, they should be your franchise partner. Because it covers lot of territories. Somebody similar to you, similar in wavelength, similar in communication, similar in values. That person house only you will go for dinner. You will not go for dinner to every person's house, or you will not invite every person to your house.
Right.
Only when you are comfortable. So identify that. The one framework what I have is identify the person whom you will be comfortable. I will not give franchisee to government officers. I will not give franchisee to person who is wearing lot of jewelry. I will not give person who will say that workers, laborers. If this kind of terminologies they are using, they are not my franchise partners. I will not give the franchisee to lawyers because by nature they are very cantankerous. So I want simple people, honest people who are don't want to give to rich people.
Mm.
Okay, for them, lakh of rupees of money per month should make a difference to their family.
Yeah.
If you are able to identify like that,
Yeah.
and then handhold them, I think get the person right.
Mm.
The business is details.
Yes.
Business is about relationship. And if you
Mm.
get the relationship right, your business is right. I have one favorite story. The story goes on like that. The father is, that day morning, he was busy. He didn't read the newspaper. He will come
Mm.
home around 9 o'clock and he will start reading the newspaper. And his 6-year-old son will want him to play with the papa. I want to play with you.
Mm.
And the father is immersed in the newspaper and he will suddenly see a um, um, advertisement of an international courier company where the
Mm.
world map was there.
Mm.
He will tear the what do you call the world map and make it into pieces. And he will tell, "Beta, this is your jigsaw puzzle. Now assemble it. Then father will play with you." And
Mm.
he get immersed in the paper. Within 2 minutes, the son will tap on his leg and tell, "Look, it is ready."
Mm.
And the father will be shocked and he will look at it. It was arranged. And he will
Mm.
say, "How is it possible?" And the son looked at the father, puzzled face, and he will tell, "While you were tearing, I saw a picture of a man in the back.
Yeah.
The face was there. I don't know where New Zealand is. I don't know where Australia is. I don't know where America is. I don't know where Africa is.
Mm.
But I know where nose is. I know where eyes are. I know where lips are. I know where ears are. I got the man right. The world became all
Mm.
right. Get the man right. The world will become all right." It is very important that we should get the man right. A lot of people want the world right and then the man will right. It will not work.
Yes.
Get the man right. The world will become all right.
That's very well said, sir. And your journey already has expressed it, and your journey has been a real wonder. And you have really created a direction of your own, and it's definitely hasn't been an easy one. I can always say that I've been talking to you since long, and in spite of all the challenges, tough times, you really have come out stronger and worked endlessly with a wide focus towards your vision. And I think everyone must have this positive approach and find right people if you are planning for the franchises. So due to COVID-19, people are facing financial problems. Many of them have closed down their salons. Many of them have started operating it from the house. So what would you like to say about the beauty and wellness industry market situation in coming year? And what will be your
Oh,
guidelines to make proper roadmap in terms of getting business stabilized again?
yeah, I think the corona is a. We should all say thank you to corona. So when in the beginning, when the prime minister closed to the country, uh, we were in a bit of shock and awe. That's his usual strategy, and
Mm,
that's how we used to put that. And 21 days, and we were not knowing what's happening, but it was a new experience.
mm,
We were all putting the light, we were doing the bell, all those things, expecting what is corona, and it will all go. And at that point of time, around 500 cases were there.
yeah.
Okay, and that's how the journey began. And at the end of the next month, April, we suddenly felt, oh boy, we have to pay salary,
Mm,
and we have to get money from everywhere and put this together and paid the April month, March month salary
yeah.
because last 10 days was not working. So April month, full month not working. So we have to feed the people. And without any cash flow, our business is dependent on daily cash flow.
Mm,
With the daily cash flow only, we pay the rent, we pay the salary, we pay the electricity, we pay the product, all those things. It's a daily cash flow business. And suddenly when the cash flow is choked, cash flow is like blood flow. If
yeah.
there is no blood flow, the human cannot live. If there is no cash flow, the business cannot live. And suddenly April month it was choked. And suddenly we realized it is not ending in April, it is also May month is also ending.
Mm,
And we were a little bit jittery. When is it going to open? Blah, blah, blah. All those things were there. Suddenly that we realized that we used to think that two business which will have lot of customers. One is liquor business,
yeah.
and that really happened. Okay, a lot of people stood in queue and bought the liquor. The second one was salon, and people thought that lot of people are going to come to the salon. Yes, when the one or 2 days when we opened, a lot of men came to the salon.
Mm,
But our business is primarily dependent on women,
yeah.
and women have not stepped out.
Mm,
And the fear now, the corona is increasing day by day. The flash news is this much, this much, this much has put a lot of fear. And there is one salon problem happened somewhere in America, one salon problem happened somewhere in Madhya Pradesh. It is affecting the entire business. And that's how the problem was going on. And that's when I realized that, boss, this is no more going to end so soon. And we need to think about it. Before Corona, people used to think that the salon business, customer used to select a salon business based on, first, is it a good brand name? Is it a good brand name? Is it a good interior, or is it good?
Yeah.
Is the what do you call? Are they using good products? Is the offer good? Is the pricing good? Especially, is the stylist good?
Yeah.
Stylist will play a very important role. Is it closer to my office? Is it closer to my salon? Is it home? These are the parameters with which they used to select a salon. After COVID, people used to have only one criteria: is it safe for me?
Yes.
So what was SOP before, which is standard operating procedure,
Yeah.
we changed it to operation standard protocols. We presumed that both the service provider, smile provider, and the customer is to be asymptomatic patients. How will one will not transmit to the another person? Because for me, both my staff and customer are like two eyes. It is not customer is more, both are my customers. How can I ensure both are safe?
Right.
So we put that kind of protocols, and we went into the market, and we started looking at this as a business. However, the external scenario is still not very favorable. We are at 40 to 50% of our business have come, but we have converted lot of our. We looked at lot of minus points and corrected that. Rental we have negotiated for a whatever is our fixed cost has now become variable cost.
Yeah.
Earlier, two fixed cost in the business is salary and the rental. Now we have made it into variable cost. We spoke to our staff and told them, you are also one of the stakeholders. Okay, and let us work on a variable business. So that has really worked for us. So this thing is, Corona has given new opportunities. We have now introduced home service. That is working out very well for us. We have focused on retail business. That has worked out very well for us. We have focused on training business. That has worked out very well for us. Yesterday we have introduced safety kits, which is the mask, hand sanitizer, the disinfectant spray, wet wipes, handy sanitizer. All those things are now giving us a lot of businesses. What was earlier one business now become four business.
Yeah.
Within 1 year and 6 months, which I was telling you, end of 2021, the natural salon business will be only 50%. There will be 50% of business which will be coming from non-salon services. So that way we are rebuilding the business. So Corona is a great opportunity. I don't know whether I told or not. When you are going in a forest, imagine you are going in a forest and suddenly one lion comes in front of you. You have a problem. Imagine you are going in the forest and same lion comes in front of you. This time you have an AK-47 in your hand. Now lion has a problem. Corona is the lion which has come in front of us. The question is, are we going unequipped? Are you going equipped? Are we learning new tricks? Are we redesigning our business? Are we relearning something? And that is when we can really take the Corona shoot the Corona.
Yes.
And take advantage of that. Only skill which is required in a post-Corona scenario is reinvent. Reinvent physically, reinvent mentally, reinvent financially, and reinvent business models. Old business model will not work now.
Yeah.
Please understand. There is no point in trying to do the business in the old way and expecting new result. Einstein defined insanity very nicely. He said, doing the same thing and expecting different result. It's called insanity. So we need to be sane and we should look at new ways of doing business and alter it. That's what one of my favorite, Alvin Toffler will say, the illiterates of the 21st century are not the ones who cannot read and write. The illiterates of the 21st century are the ones who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. There are a lot of new things we need to learn, lot of old method of doing we should unlearn, and we should relearn a lot of things. We should slightly alter the way in which we were doing. If we are able to put it together, the Corona will find it as an opportunity. And that's what I wish to all the people to happen.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. And if we have a proper roadmap in terms of getting business stabilized again, I think this will surely work. And as you have mentioned, I think everyone should work on inventions and try to adopt new things. Thank you once again. So, what advice would you like to give to those who wants to opt this field as a career?
This field is the best career, best field.
Yeah.
Not because I am in this field. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a cash and carry business. There is no credit in this business.
Yeah.
This is a neighborhood business. This is a high loyal business. This is one time you get the customer comes again and again, repeat business. It is also high margin business.
Yes.
All these combination, you will never see another business like this. This is a beautiful business to be in.
Yes.
From a owner standpoint, from a employee standpoint, very good business to be in. And I want to tell a story again. This happened some 3-4 months before in one of my salons. I walked in and I wanted to have a quick shave to go for a morning meeting. Yeah. And I went into the salon. The first person, the receptionist, did not identify me. I was happy and sad. I was happy because I become so big that my own people are not identifying. I was sad. What is this? Anyway, I went and met the first person. This time, that person also did not identify me. I became more sad. Then I went and the next person I saw, luckily that person identified me. Come in. He didn't say, sir, come. Maybe he is thinking me as a regular customer or is he thinking me as a boss? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, he made me sit and he asked me, are you C.K. Kumarave? I said, yes. Boss, thank God. Okay, and he asked, and I told him, and he told me, I wanted to come and meet you and thank you. I thought maybe the franchise partner has given him some increment or given him special training. I said, okay, for what? And he said, I am in this industry for 14 years. First 4 years, I worked in some other salon. Last 10 years in naturals. Before you had come into the salon industry, this industry is considered to be a taboo business, taboo activity. We were not respected in the society. We were called barbers and we were called hairdressers. Today, we have become hair stylists, we have become hair artists, we have become style directors. The way in which the family starts respecting me has changed. The way in which the society starts respecting me has changed. For that, I wanted to come and say thank you to you. I said, wow, I have never thought like that. So far, I thought it's a women entrepreneur business, it's a franchising business. I never looked at as I have touched a taboo activity and converted to a lifestyle business. Yes. Any activity which is organized and become financially viable, more and more people will come and join. Earlier, this business was restricted only to certain caste people only will do. Yeah. Today, it has become financially viable, so educated people are joining, different people are joining, all the people are coming and joining. That is where this whole industry is now become more colorful. Yes. Okay, I think that's very, very important, that change which is in the thing. So I am very, a very important thing what I want to share is I think the industry should become financially viable. Yeah. And it should be viable for all the stakeholders. Yes. Any business which has to survive, it has to take care of 6 stakeholders. First is it should be the customer. Second is the employee. Third is the vendors. Fourth is the banks and financial institutions. Yeah. Sixth is the government. Fifth is the government agencies. And sixth is the partner. Yeah. And now 7th stakeholder has come, which is the planet. Corona came and reminded us, take care of me also. Otherwise, everything will stop. Absolutely. In the beginning phase of my business, I used to take care of 1 or 2 or 3 of the stakeholders. I used to take care of customers well. I used to take care of, then I used to take care of employees, but don't pay vendors on time. Then I used to take care of vendors. Then I used to pay the employees late. Then I used to take care of these 3 people. No, don't pay bank a loan back. I used to then not pay the service tax and GST on time. Okay, and this kind of tamasha. Then we don't used to. One of the biggest problem every entrepreneur does is they don't consider the partner's time and value as an important ingredient. They don't take the money. Then I realized that this altering from one person to another is only I am doing chasing. Yes. And only when it is like all the 6 stakeholders are 6 wheel of a truck. Only when all the wheels are having good air, the truck will go smoothly. Otherwise, the truck will not move. Taking care of one stakeholder and not taking care of another stakeholder, thinking that we are shortcutting and we are going very fast, will not make the journey smooth, and it will not continue. And that is one of my biggest learning. And that's why I tell all my the entrepreneurs, take care of all the 6 stakeholders, and including now the 7th stakeholder, Stephanie, which is the planet.
Yes.
Only when you are balancing all the 6 stakeholders, the journey will be smooth for everybody. Otherwise, we will be parked in the side, and somebody else will move over us fast. So don't be in a hurry. Balance all the stakeholders and take your business to the next level.
Yes, thank you, sir. And we must take care of the 6 stakeholders, and we really have to focus more on it. Then only your vehicle will go smoothly. Thank you for this enlightening thought process, sir. You really have given us very good insights. Thank you. Sir, at the end of the interview, we always have quick rapid fire questions. So can I start?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Your favorite place in India?
My favorite place in India is my home, obviously, but I love Kodaikanal.
Wow, that's super. So what do you admire most?
Honesty and integrity, courage. That one man, Gandhi, who made a difference in our life. It is anger when he was pushed out of the train in South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, he channelized his anger. Because he channelized his anger, we are all sitting in a free India today. Anger, when channelized, becomes a positive force. Anger, if not channelized, will become a frustration and eventually will become negative. Anger should be used positively.
It's a good learning, sir. What is the first thing you notice about someone when you first meet?
Smile. Smile. Smile and smile. Smile is a beautiful jewelry. I tell all the women, it is not the yellow metal or the white stone which makes you beautiful. It only makes the jeweler beautiful. You smile. I think that's the best jewelry you can wear. Minus that smile, all other jewelry is of no use.
That's wonderful. What is that one thing you always wanted to do?
The greatest use of life is to do something that outlaws it. Today, my father lives in sachets. Whenever I see any sachet in any of the shop, I think it is my father is living there. So your dream should continue to inspire and live.
Yeah.
So I think that is the kind of life you should live so well. That generations to come should say that, wow, wonderful. This is what is the thing. So I think that's exactly history of the world is nothing but history of few people.
Yeah.
History of few people is nothing but history of few decisions they have taken. History of few decisions they have taken and history of few moments. Yes. And the history of that few decisions they have taken, few moments, is by their thought process. Take care of your thought process. Keep it positive. Keep it progressive. Keep it good for everyone. Don't think that you win, they lose. I think everyone has to win. And I want to tell the favorite story why I am such a Gandhi lover. When India got freedom, Nehru's and the Patels and the Rajajis and the all the people, Maulana Azad, everybody went to Gandhi, the Sabarmati Ashram, and told them this is the Indian national flag, first Indian national flag. Yeah. Gandhi said, no, I will not. They asked why. Said Lord Mountbatten, who signed our memorandum for the independence, he will be standing next when the British flag has to come down, where Indian flag has to go up. He will feel very hurt. He said, even if Nehru does, sir, Patel does, or anyone does, it is the same thing. What is the big deal? Yeah. You should do it. So Gandhi said, make Lord Mountbatten to hoist the Indian national flag. When he is reducing the British flag, he will feel hurt. But when he is raising the Indian national flag, he will feel very happy. To such a nation, I signed the memorandum. Gandhi never thought against the Britishers. He thought for Indians. Today, the problem is, we can always think for Hindus. We cannot think against Muslims. I think that is the problem the country is going through. I think there is nothing wrong in Hindus being good. Hindus should be good, although there is no problem in that.
Yes.
The point is, because we should be good, somebody else should not be bad.
Yes.
I think that's something which I am very pained at this point of time looking at the society. It is getting polarized. If I have to be good, you have to be bad. No, not like that. I think team means together, everybody wins. That is called dream. That's the kind of dream. That's the kind of legacy. That's the kind of country we should leave it to the next generation. It is not the violence of the bad people which destroy the society.
Yes.
It is the silence of the good people. So my request to all the good people is come and join together. I think we all need to. India is a beautiful showcase to the world of what is unity and diversity. Different people, different culture, different language, different festival, different food. But we are all together. I think that's the beauty of India, and we should never lose that.
Yes.
For me to win, you should not lose. Win-win. Everybody should win.
Yes.
I think that's something which I am very passionate about. I think we have one generation has given their life so that we are living in a free India today.
Yes.
It's our mandate and responsibility to gift our next generation a safe India and a beautiful India. I think that's a responsibility we all should. Civilized society means how we have received the society, we should give it better to the next generation. That's called a civilized society. I think that's what we should all aspire for. I am pained at things around us, but I think we will overcome that and we will all come together because we all have common good.
Yes. That's very well said, sir. And I think we all should respect it and we all should come together, have this thought process going on, immerse it, and we must walk away towards it. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the precious time for this interview and talk about your experience and inspirational journey. It was great to learn more about you, your approach and thoughts on various aspects, which I'm sure, will help all of us in this future. Our conversation made me really even more excited and has encouraged me. What inspired me in particular, it is how sharply your efforts are focused and how much of hard work and persistence you have constantly put in along the years. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time.
Thank you. Namaste. Your dream is your signature. Make sure the entire world knows it.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Every dream should be showcased. Every dream is important. And everyone's dream is also important.
Yes, definitely.
Together, let us build a beautiful India.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we will walk through the way you are saying, and we will do a lot of hard work to get this success. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for all you all are so awesome. Stay tuned with us for the next interview coming soon and take care of yourself. If you have any questions, you can always send us on the details given below. And please like, comment, and share this video. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.